active land investor who's been doing a lot of deals, and I have been in touch with him for a while now, and I wanted to bring him on to a Facebook Live podcast and just kind of pick his brain. And so, yeah, I mean, he's obviously out there doing it, and so I think it's important to get active land investors, and people are always interested in hearing different perspectives. So I wanted to have Joe on, and before we get into it, I just want to mention that if you are interested in getting started in the land investing business, please visit landinvestingpros.com. We have a new comprehensive course out on land investing, so if you are interested, please go to that website or feel free to reach out to me. Happy to discuss with you. But yeah, now let's get into it. And Joe, thanks for joining me today.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Cool. And yeah, so I guess getting into it, do you mind sharing a bit about your background and how I guess where you came from, why you got interested in land investing, and then maybe talk about some of the success you've had so far?
Sure. So I've always been interested in real estate, and had read all kinds of books and did a bunch of podcasts and stuff like that, and went through a divorce and was like, man, I gotta find a way to, lost half my retirement. So I was like, man, I gotta find a way to shore this up. But also at the same time, I was like, you know what, I'm really not finding a lot of joy in my day-to-day work as an IT guy, and I spend a lot of my time helping other people get really big bonuses. So maybe I can take some of the time that I have and put it into creating really big bonuses for me.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
That was.
So I guess what was the progression for you? So you're in this IT job, and so I guess you're looking to do something on your own and earn some income for yourself. What was your thought process in getting into real estate and specifically land investing?
Well, I really looked around. I was really kind of hot on multifamily for a while. Never thought that the wholesaling thing or doing SFR rentals or anything like that was going to be the thing. And as I looked into multifamily investing, I was like, man, like everything that I'm reading about this means you need a lot of startup capital, and you really need to know something about renovation, because the money is in buying something that is a little worn down and making it new, and putting the investment into something that someone has kind of largely discarded. And so I'm not the handiest guy, and I just thought about all the work that can go sideways just in my own 3-bedroom house. My God, what is it like in a multifamily environment? It wasn't something I wanted to get into.
So did you start looking close by in your area for multifamily units, or you never even got that far? You knew you wanted to earn some income to get into real estate, and then you immediately jumped into land because it made more sense, or did you go down that rabbit hole a little bit?
Eventually I did, but I started with land, and then eventually my wife and I did acquire one multifamily property that's a vacation home for us. But that's as many multifamilies as I ever want to have.
That's pretty nice. Where's the vacation home?
It's in Duluth, Minnesota, right on the shore of Lake Superior.
All right, that sounds good. All right, so you got involved with land. I guess what were some of the reasons you were attracted to this niche compared to other niches? Was it because of the low investment, or was it because it's hands off, or a combination of both of those? Or I guess what attracted you to land investing?
Both the low barrier of financial investment to it relative to other things. I mean, I wouldn't say that this is it's like cheap to get into it. Like you can do it with just a few hundred or even a few $1,000s, but compared to everything else, it's certainly a lower financial commitment. And I like the fact that I didn't ever have to leave the house. I've got 2 young kids, and I'm have been working a full-time job this whole time, so my time to be outside the home is pretty limited.
Okay. All right. So maybe we can dive in a little bit. Maybe you can describe a little bit about your investment strategy, and I guess what your yeah, I guess maybe first we can go into your strategy. I guess what kinds of things are you doing from a land investing standpoint? What kinds of areas are you looking to buy, and how do you choose markets? What price points are you buying at? What price points are you looking to sell at? And maybe if we could dig into that a little bit, I think it would be pretty helpful.
Sure. I've traditionally pretty much done, I'd say, a mix of probably 2/3 or even 3/4 cash flips and maybe about a quarter terms. We're looking to increase that mix this year, but that's what it's been in the past. Um, so I'm usually buying, at least lately, larger size properties. So anything from 5 acres is the smallest typically, but then up to, you know, 20, 40, 80 acres, and kind of all in the same area at this point. We're also part of our 2020 strategy has been to branch out to other markets and, you know, mail a lot of different counties
Okay.
so that we can get some diversity. So we've got one sort of area in Oregon that we work continuously, that we know really well. We're well known in the county and in the area.
You the big
But
shots in the area?
for what that's worth,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
But
fair. And so attracted you to that area? Was there any fundamentals of that market, or you just happened to buy some property there and started to have some early success? Um, because I know Oregon's very pretty, and there's probably a lot of buyers just who are looking to invest in or maybe move out there or invest in the area just because it's very scenic and pretty nice out there. But I guess what were some of the features about that market that attracted you towards that specific area?
um, it it was pretty affordable. So the lots that I were getting are probably some of the lowest price lots in the state, if not all of the kind of western part of the United States, at least in the coastal western part. And it was also pretty evident that there was some price consistency there. So it wasn't taking me a ton of mental energy to look at a lot and say, wow, what should I pay for this? How much is this going to go for? Those were the two things that were really important to us and
Okay.
continue to be, keep us investing in the same area.
I gotcha. And so I know you mentioned you're buying at different acreage sizes, but I guess is there a sweet spot in terms of the price point that you're looking to buy at, or are you pretty much open to everything, or kind of any price point, or are you trying to keep it consistent in maybe a couple $1,000s, or are you buying at 5, 10 grand, or I guess where's the sticking point for you?
We're buying anywhere between $3,000 and $7,000 right now, and that seems to work out pretty well for us. We're able to make that money back within a year if we're selling on terms, and it still gives us a good enough spread that, a deal is worthwhile if we can double or triple our money on a cash sale.
Okay. And so I guess primarily, how are you selling your properties? Are you mostly looking to sell through your buyers list? Are you marketing on all or on the free sites? Are you paying for land subscriptions for different sites? I guess where have you seen some success in um, allowing you to sell property quickly?
So Facebook's been, I'm just looking at my spreadsheet here of where I've sold stuff. Facebook is a good portion of it. We've seen a lot of good traffic from Zillow too, and it's great because Zillow is free and you don't have to do a lot of babysitting of it. So that's been a real important source of very serious buyers for us. We're on lands too. We just updated our subscription to a premium subscription, and we've seen more leads, and we see high quality leads coming from lands too. And of course, we're on Facebook. You have to be on Facebook, and we kind of use Facebook as a strategy to build our buyers list. And so we've got, close to, I'd say, 2,000 people on the email list right now, and we've sold a couple off the
Okay, so
email
you got a
list.
pretty good email list.
Yeah.
Has that mostly come from Facebook, like you mentioned, or has it
Yeah,
just been
almost exclusively.
okay? Yeah, that's great. So I would say having your buyers list is super helpful. So that's probably probably been very helpful for you guys. Do you sell a lot through email, or is it mostly through? Is it mostly on Facebook, or is it mostly lands, or is it mostly your email list, or what would you say on that?
I would say most of it has been a lead that started out on Facebook. Um, Facebook and Zillow.
Facebook and Zillow. Okay.
Yeah, probably about a 50-50 mix of those.
Yeah. So how has Zillow been for you? We stopped using Zillow primarily because they gave us a hard time with postings, and actually it was kind of difficult to get properties to stick. I know you can Zillow has a lot more cash buyers on there, and then Facebook
Mhm.
Facebook seems to be you get a lot more interest, and it's more the outer edge of the funnel, and you can sell stuff pretty easy on terms. But Zillow's been probably pretty helpful, or has more buyers that are looking who are looking for land, and therefore they're more able and willing to pay cash. Is that what you found, and how has that avenue been treating you?
For sure. Yeah, and because we do a fair number of cash deals, I think Zillow works better for us than the more term centric lots that we have. We still list them there. We don't have a huge inventory. We try to keep between 5 and maybe a dozen lots in inventory at any point in time.
Okay.
Um, but Zillow's been good for if we're a ton of our lots are 20 acres, and so Zillow just seems to work really well at that area, and at a price point we're usually selling somewhere between 10 and $20,000.
Okay. I'm just curious. So you're buying these 20-acre tracts out in Oregon. You said you're buying your price point around 5 grand. It seems like that would be fairly cheap for Oregon, 20 acres. Is that right? Or are you able to get those kind of at that price point?
Yep, we're able to get some at that price point.
Okay. I bet those get probably gobbled up pretty quickly.
Sometimes yes, and
Sometimes yes,
sometimes
sometimes no.
no. Yeah, it all depends on just the way the wind's blowing and
I
where
got
the
you.
ads are hitting.
Yeah. So you haven't had any issues getting your ads to stick on Zillow? Because I remember when I was using that, we were trying to use it. We just they got really picky. This is about a year or so ago about like LLCs posting on Zillow. You need to have it in your personal name, and if you had an LLC, then they were going to give you a hard time, and you needed to show proof of ownership. And then once you showed them the deeds, it was a bit challenging. But it doesn't seem like you're having that kind of issue.
They never grilled me to that extent. I have an account in my just with my personal email address and stuff, but they never gave me a hard time about who I was. I'd just say, "Yep, I own the property." The only really tough part was like they gave me a hard time about street abbreviations at one point, and all kinds of weird stuff about actually getting the ad to stick based on the address. But
Okay. Yeah, I've definitely had that issue too, but that's something I was able to resolve. But some of the other issues. So I mean, I know it's a good source, and it's probably something I should revisit Zillow because that early on that was really really a big avenue for me. But I just stopped using it because I had some difficulties. But it sounds like you're still having success on there, and so I think it's a great. It seems like a great avenue to keep posting properties on, and it seems like you're doing pretty well on there.
yeah,
Are you using Craigslist at all, or not so much?
no, no. I fired Craigslist.
You fired it.
I
You got
fired.
rid of it.
I
You had enough.
fired Facebook groups too. Facebook groups seem
Okay.
like they're just like land investors posting to other land investors. So,
Yeah.
like, it's great if you want to see where other people are investing, but I don't know that I've ever talked to someone who said, "Yeah, I got some great leads from a Facebook group."
Yeah. Yeah, I used to post on there. I used to get a lot of tire kickers, but yeah, I mean a lot of these wholesale groups are just investors trying to get dump their properties, and so yeah, I've had similar experience on there as well. Okay, and on your land watch plan, do you have like a premier or signature or just regular? And you say you're getting some leads on there, but yeah, maybe what kind of success have you had on there? Are you selling like a property a month, more than that, less than that? I guess where are you at
Oh,
on that?
probably less than that. We're a premier account. We've got 10 slots.
Okay.
Um, it's been okay. I'd rather have it than not have it,
Yeah.
but
It's pretty
a lot of months
expensive.
go by that I look at that bill and I'm like, man, is it worth it?
Yeah. So I don't know. I've gone back and forth. I mean, we're actually having a bit more success using Lands of America now. Um, and so I think it's undoubtedly worth it. But I understand where you're coming from because you don't get a ton of leads, and the amount of leads that you're getting on these free platforms, you're going to get more leads. But the quality of leads that come through on like Lands of America, Land Watch, whatever, are generally better leads. So I think over time you will see some sales, but like when you're like going day to day and you're thinking, okay, I'm still not getting any leads, it can be a little bit of a like, why am I paying for this? Um, but I think it's worth it because I'm sure. Have you sold any properties on there?
Oh yeah, I've sold a couple.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty market like specific. Like some markets will perform a lot better, some markets will not do so well. So I mean, it kind of depends what area you're in, but um, yeah, I mean, even if you sell like one property a year, I don't know what your margins are, but even if you sell one property a year, like at the worst case, you're probably like that margin on that one extra deal that you sold is probably covering the subscription and some.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, so I guess, yeah, maybe do you mind sharing what your typical deal looks like? In terms, you said you're buying around 5 grand. I guess what on average would you say you're selling it for?
Yeah, let me look at the last couple deals that I've done here. Um, so there was one that I got. What did I buy it for? I bought one for. This was a 5 acre lot. And I bought it for about $1,200, and I lucked out in the area that I was in though. But I sold that
You
thing
bought it for
for about.
1,200?
Yeah, I bought it for $1,200,
You can get lots in
1177.
Oregon for 1,200. I thought Oregon's generally speaking a bit more expensive, but you're able to you gobble
I
some of it up.
invest in a really crappy part of Oregon,
Okay,
in a high desert area, and so it's like a long way from Portland, and lots of sagebrush,
okay,
like no trees and sagebrush.
I gotcha.
So,
I'm assuming that's probably like an acre lot or something along those lines. You're probably not buying 5 acres for $1,200, I would assume.
no, this was a 5 acre that I bought for 1,200
Oh
bucks.
wow.
Yeah,
So I would
and I
imagine.
sold it for almost $5,500. So my gross profit on it was
Wow.
like almost $4,300.
Okay.
So that was a good sale.
I want to. I kind of want to just pull up comps for like all Oregon 5 acres. I feel like 5 grand is really cheap. Did it have like no access or anything or something?
No, there was access.
There was road access. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that one was like a weird one too, because the dude like brought it into a title company. I sent him a purchase agreement to sign, and he was like, the
Was
guy
it a
had a
cash
flip
deal?
phone still. Yeah, it was cash deal.
All right. I'm
And
quickly pulling up comps for the whole state of Oregon. I could be wrong here, but I feel like uh I just want to see if like there's anything trading that cheap. So I mean, getting a property for $1,200 is pretty stunning in Oregon. I actually I haven't invested there or too much there, so I bought some in Klamath a while ago, but haven't bought anything there since. Let me just see. I'm just curious more than anything to see what's on the market. I'm just pulling up Zillow, see what I can find here.
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, the cheapest thing in the whole state of Oregon. If I have this sorted right, so there's 2,000 results, 5 acres and higher in Oregon. And the cheapest thing on the market is a piece of crap property. It's actually 40 acres for 4250. That might even be worth buying, but there's no road up to it. So
Well,
the cheapest thing above 5 acres, or 5 acres or above in Oregon, is 4250, and that's out of 2,000 results. So I feel like you sold that property at one of the cheapest lots in the state. So I mean that just shows you how cheap you got that thing.
yeah, it's we send a lot of mail. I mean that helps us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of the other deals that I did, these were farther from my normal area. Were like bought for 4,700 or 5,000. They were 20 acre lots, and sold them for almost $9,000, like
Okay.
$8,900. So
Those are cash
cash
deals also?
in, yeah, right around 4,000 on those.
Okay. And so you said you mostly like to focus on cash deals. Does that sound right?
I've been adding more term stuff in lately just because it's nice to get your bills taken care of and make money while you sleep.
Yeah.
Um, it's just for me, from my perspective anyway, it seems to be a lot harder to deal with everyone in their own little personal um, idea of what their payment plan should be and what how much they can put down, and the fact that no, I can't really put that down now, but will you take this much? And like it's way easier just to take cash and run it through title, or
Yeah.
take a credit card payment and move on with your life.
Yeah. No, I got you. And by the way, if anyone has any questions for Joe or anything, any topics you want us to discuss, please comment. Please add in the comments. We're happy to kind of discuss whatever you guys are thinking. But yeah, that's a good point. Are you normally buying these properties with title insurance? I'm assuming some of them maybe, and some of them maybe not. Maybe if you're buying these 20 acres, maybe you're using it. And I guess how does that work for you?
Usually we don't do title insurance unless we're going like all the way up to 80 acres. If it's like 80 or I did a 160, I bought those with title insurance because you know that the person who's going to buy it is pretty serious and they're not
Yeah,
just unbanked or something like that. But um, generally not.
yeah.
Most of the
So
time, your buyers don't even know what title insurance is.
yeah, that sounds about right. So I'm assuming for this like $1,200 deal, you just closed it in house, sent it to the county, sent the deed for recording.
That one was the one where the guy actually brought the purchase agreement into a title company,
Okay.
and there was actually a title defect on that lot
Oh,
that
really?
I didn't catch. It was like 40 years back, and the title company was like, "We won't insure this," but I told him, "Well, I'll give you a special warranty deed on it if you still want it," and he bought it still.
Okay.
Like,
All right. What was the title defect? Or it was just something along the chain of title wasn't clear or clean, or
yeah, there was a cloud on the title from like 40 years back where someone had done a contract for deed and then
didn't do a
the
release of lien or something.
yeah, that was exactly it.
Okay. Yeah. Usually those are
So
probably fine. They just forgot to do it.
yeah,
Um, I don't know if I would recommend buying those, but I think you can't go wrong. If it's 40 years ago, I usually do like a title search for a few years, and like honestly, if there's nothing like no big red flags in the last 5 years, it's usually an okay by me. And especially 40 years back, if there's not a release of lien, it's not like a huge deal because like no one's gonna pop up and say that they still have claim on the property. It's just something someone forgot to record the release of lien paperwork. Um, so I guess that that goes into another point. I guess what kind of diligence do you normally go into when you're buying these lots without title insurance?
I've got a VA. We just kind of switched. It used to be just us kind of looking at the previous deed and seeing if it was okay or not, and seeing if it, you know, if the name on the previous deed matched and it was, 20 years ago that they had it or something like that, we're like, we're good to go, right?
Yeah.
um, Now I've got a VA that I've hired, and she just does my due diligence and looks at the whole chain of title and kind of basically does the work that um, an abstractor or a title person would do without charging me all the upside of what the title company marks up.
Yeah. So, I'm just curious. Do you pass on deals if the owner is currently the seller you're talking to is currently the owner, and they were on the previous deed, but there was like something down the line, the chain of title was a little weird. Would you pass on those transactions now that you have this VA going through the chain of title?
Yeah, if we see something weird in the previous chain and it could somehow create a cloud,
Yeah.
depending on the acquisition price, we would probably pass
Okay.
because there's just enough other deals coming in that we don't need to get wrapped around the axle of something that's got issues that need to get cleaned up, and we don't ever want to be in a situation where we're, you know, passing a defective title on to a buyer.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, I totally understand that. We we do very surface level diligence. We don't go that crazy into the chain of title. So I was just kind of curious to pick your brain on that. Because we'll go like check 5 years and beyond that. I mean, assuming the person we're talking to is the owner, at least on the county, according to county records, we'll more than fine with it, assuming the purchase price isn't anything crazy. Um, so yeah, it's good that you've got someone who's digging in a little bit deeper, just making sure everything's clear. Um, cool. And I know you've got a nice website. How do you think that has been, or how helpful do you think that is in terms of allowing you to sell property?
It's been really helpful. It's been good to be able to point people to it, and it just provides a sense of legitimacy about what we're doing. And we've got a link to our Better Business Bureau
Yeah.
page
Do
on
you
it,
mind
and
sharing your website, or would you prefer to keep that
no,
private?
that's cool. We're Hang Your Hat Properties is the name of our company, and the website is www.hyhproperties.com.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. We actually, for our new business, we just got Better Business Bureau. I think that's pretty helpful. We've had actually several buyers just mention that, and we didn't have that before. That is also pretty expensive. What does that cost a month just for the BBB?
$50.
Yeah, so it's $50 a month, but I think it adds a lot of credibility.
Oh shoot! Like for like $300 a year, if you get one person who's on the fence,
Yeah, no, I think it'll get more
and
than one
that makes
person on
all
the
the
fence.
difference.
I think it'll get a lot of
It's
people on the fence
yeah,
because
it's so worth it.
the biggest like reason people don't buy is because they think it might be a scam. And like
Mm.
if you can convince like your typical buyer that you're with your website that it is not a scam, like you're going to get not just a few more sales, you're going to get a ton more sales. So if this thing, if the Better Business Bureau thing helps people think that your business is not a scam, um, and gives them security, I mean it's worth way more than $50 a month. And I think it's a lot of people don't realize like how important it is to build trust, and having a website, how important that is to like just get people to feel more secure with the purchase, and like making it seem like you're a legitimate company because you are, and you're buying these things legitimately, you're doing your title searches, you own the properties. So I think all these little things that you can do to build trust, including having a website, including that BBB thing, and I like you got a bunch of nice tabs here. You got a nice about page here for you and your wife, just making it
Yeah,
show that you guys are real people. I like your giving back thing. That's good too. We don't have anything like that, but um,
yeah,
yeah,
that's been really important to us for not just for building trust with buyers, but I kind of take the opinion that hey, all this money that is coming in because I'm still working a full-time job is extra, right? So the least I can do is, a lot of these counties that we work in as land investors are really poor places.
yeah,
And I don't like the feeling of being a carpetbagger, just going in there and trying to sponge off the local economy when, a lot of the people that are contacting you, when you put a Craigslist ad out there for $75 and you get, 30 responses to it, that lets you understand that there's some hardship there. And if you can take some of the money that you're getting from flipping dirt there and give it back to the community, that's a good feeling.
okay, that's great. So all these organizations you've been donating to are just in the areas where your land is, not where you're currently located.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that's good. I'm sure that helps a
And
lot too. Like all these small
yeah.
things.
And I'll add one more thing about the BBB thing too is as part of our process, we put at the end of our process when we send people an electronic copy of the deed, we put a link right to our BBB review page in there and say, "Hey, would you mind writing us 2 or 3 sentences and just sharing about your experience? It really, really helps us." And we've got 13 5-star reviews right now, and we don't close their file until we've got the review. So sometimes it takes a little follow-up or two, but
Yeah,
it's so worth doing.
that's good. So you just give that to all your buyers, or
Yep. So if you bought from us, we just when we send you the deed, we say, "Hey, it's been great working with you. here's a link to our Better Business Bureau page. Could you help us, build some trust with other people looking to buy land?
Yeah, that's good. We literally just launched ours, or we just got past the 6 month mark, and so we are an A minus. And I guess we just need reviews in order. I guess we need time and then reviews. So that's something we will try to implement. I think it's good. That's a good tip. And cool. And then your sell your land tab here. Does that get any bites or not really?
We put that out when we send mailers out. So we say you can respond by sending us this agreement back, respond to this email address, or just come to our webpage here and submit the information. But it's not showing up in any like organic searches or anything like that.
Okay, cool. And I'm assuming this phone call or this phone number up here just rings your phone, like a Google Voice number or something.
It's a Google Voice number, yeah.
Cool. All right. So you've got your primary market out in Oregon. Have you thought about expanding to different areas, or are you mostly satisfied just continue buying there and building your buyers list out there? How do you think about that? Because I know we've talked in the past, and you've been buying in different states as well. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what your strategy is, or whether you're thinking about expanding or buying more areas, or what's your thought process there?
Yeah. We've been mailing Alabama and Florida, and we haven't found the right market in Florida yet, but I've got a mailer going out this weekend that I am pretty enthusiastic about.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot of good terms type lots, like kind of like the stuff that you work. So looking forward to that. And then we've been mailing for bigger lots, more recreational lots in Alabama.
Okay. Why do you say you haven't found the right market in Florida, or you've bought some property that it's not been selling right away, or is that what you mean?
It's been tough to find price consistency in the lots that we're getting back. Just a lot of weird different lots, different shapes, and all. It's a more metro area, and it's just been hard.
Yeah, from my experience, or at least I haven't done a ton in Florida. I bought a bunch, but not like, I bought more in different states. But from my understanding, it seems like the pricing for everything above an acre is really high, and then everything. You could get some good cheaper stuff below an acre. Is that what you found, or have you found a little bit different?
Yeah, right about an acre or so seems to be the sweet spot. Sometimes up to 2, depending on the county that you're looking at, from what I've seen. But then once you get into bigger lots in Florida, it gets ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. And so I like the Southeast. I think it's pretty good in terms of what the data shows. It seems like there's a lot of people interested in buying land, a lot of buyers out there, a lot of demand. Not a lot of people out in Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, even though those states appear to be really good for this niche. How has your experience been out in Alabama? You said you've I know you mentioned that you've bought in some markets out there.
Yeah, we've got some mailing going on right now. Haven't found a ton of motivated sellers in Alabama, but if I do, they're usually out of state, and you can, once you get the right property, or once you can acquire the property, it seems to move pretty fast. It seems like there's good demand, but there's not a huge willingness to sell.
Yeah, is the price point good, or is it all pretty high over there? I have not sent out a mailer in Alabama.
It's not bad. It's certainly not as expensive as you might see in like Georgia or the Carolinas or anything like that. It's more affordable, and so that's one of the reasons that we chose it. Is we wanted to get lots that were big enough and affordable enough, and kind of close enough to metro areas that would be we'd be able to do cash sales with. So we kind of have this dual strategy of doing large flips to get cash, and then buying smaller lots on terms,
Yeah,
or to sell on terms, so that we can bridge the gap between the acquisition price and what we're able to get on the down. Because eventually, if you're just strictly focusing on term sales, you're going to run out of money, and you got to figure out a way to bridge that gap. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I think it's good just in general to have a lot of irons in the fire. The more things that you're doing, like the better success you'll have. If you just have one strategy in one market, you're like only buying one SKU in one market at one price point, then I think you're going to be in a worse position where compared to if you're doing a lot of different things. And I think the more stuff that you're doing, like some things are bound to sell, and like your cash flow will be bound to improve if you're doing some term, some cash, and just throwing a mixed bag out there. So I think it's not a bad idea. And yeah, so how do you think about continuing to are you just slowly organically trying to buy more property, or are you looking to raise money, partner on deals? Uh, if you do run out of capital, because I mean it's so easy to buy these properties, and it's pretty easy to run out of money if you're not raising money or you're not churning these things as fast as you'd like. So I guess, do you have any thought process on how to continue to scale once you run out of funds, or is it just a slow
Yeah,
burn?
no, we've got a short list of people who will fund cash deals, and I'm pretty active in my local real estate investors community. And so the conversations that you have, I mean, you can go to a RIA meeting and you'll guaranteed you're going to be like the only person who does strictly land investing.
100%.
And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and but all kinds of people are just fascinated about it, and we'll go to I'll go to the meeting after the meeting at the local tavern and talk with a lot of these guys who've been doing multifamily and SFR for years and years, and they'll be like, "Holy shit, that's cool, man!" And you're like, "What? How much you can do? How many deals and you can make how much?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Want me to show you how to do it?"
Yeah.
No, no, no. But you know what, dude? If you need some money for some deals, I'll give you some
Yeah, there
money.
you go.
And you just talk with family and friends about it, and people are willing to partner with their IRAs, and you just stay, be active in the Facebook groups that are focused just on land investing. And there's all kinds of people there who are willing to go in and fund deals. So it's just a matter of networking, and then having your list, understanding what people are willing to fund and how they fund. And when you start to see the bank account balance get lower than you'd like, then's the time to start reaching out.
Yeah, and no, I definitely agree with that. And I think once you get a little bit of experience and you can show some results, I think it's really not hard to raise money. I mean, if you're just trying to raise like 50 to 100 grand, and the logistics, like I thought it was going to be this complicated thing, but it's really not hard to logistically doing it. All you need to do is really just put together a simple operating agreement, start a new LLC with a new person, and open up a new bank account, have them wire the money to that bank account, sign the operating agreement, and that's really it. And then just start taking title under that name and maybe do 50-50 profit split. And if you get 50 to 100 grand, you can buy, I don't know, 10 to 20 to 30 properties even, um, maybe even more if you want. And like that literally could be the basis of you starting, or in really just trying to scale. It's just raising a little bit of money, and and the logistics are really not too difficult. So I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to get started, you're trying to do this, and um, money is an issue, like get a stupid operating agreement, write it together, explain exactly how it's going to work, and open up a bank account and have someone wire the funds there and just take title into that LLC. It's not super complicated, and yeah, so I think there's a million ways to do it. You could do a slow burn, you could raise money, but I think it's really easy to get started if you have the will. You're able to raise money, and it's not going to be too difficult. So yeah, I think it's good advice going to RIA. I haven't done that myself, but I can imagine if you go there, there's plenty of people with money who are looking to spend, or who are
Yeah,
looking to would be willing to partner, especially when you tell them you're buying these things at 15 to 20 cents on the dollar.
yeah, it's cool. It's you learn a lot of those things too. Not just, I mean, they're pretty focused on housing and multifamily and wholesaling and stuff, but there's all kinds of applicable things that you can bring into your business.
Are people pretty shocked when you tell them what you do?
Yep, yep. They're they're like, what? They don't get it, but
Who's buying those things? That's what I get all the
yeah, you don't do work in this state.
time.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Well, cool. So I guess what's kind of your plan with the business? Do you just want to keep? So you're doing it on the side right now. Are you looking to continue just like with keep doing it pretty like in the background, or are you looking to make it a full time thing, or I guess what's your thought process, and I guess maybe what are some of your shorter term goals with the business?
Well, my wife was able to leave her job at the end of the year, and she's been putting a lot of energy into the business,
Okay, that's great. That's awesome.
and that's been helpful. It's kind of helped us bridge a gap and start to get over the hump of, um, you know, not having as much traction as we'd like. So we've got a lot of momentum now, and we've been hiring a couple people. So we've got a posting VA that handles everything Facebook related for us and gets stuff out on everything but Zillow. And we've got an intake manager now who handles everything that's coming in. So at this point, the biggest thing is mailing is making sure that is finding the right counties and getting, we've got a goal for the amount of mail that we want to send out, which is double what it was last year. And once we've got those, once we've got more mail going out, then it's going to force us to create even more streamlined processes for evaluating deals and finding what we want to buy.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think having someone 100% focused on the business is going to help you a lot. When you have 100% focus on this, like good things happen. So I mean, the fact that
Yeah,
she could even quit her job because of this niche is pretty remarkable. So I think just keeping that rolling is definitely a good thing.
yeah, yeah. We use a system called Traction that
Okay,
is,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have that book right over there.
yeah, yeah. It's great for setting goals for the year and then doing quarterly goals and thinking about what your rocks or your goals
Yep,
are for
some of your
90
boys.
days.
Yep.
Yeah, having a number for everything that you're going to track. Like everyone's got a number. I've got a number, my wife's got a number, my VAs have numbers about what needs to get done. And otherwise it's just like, how are we feeling about things today, and that doesn't help us make hard decisions.
Yeah, definitely. And so we've got a question here on Facebook. What are your typical days on market for properties you guys market? Do you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah. Again, because most of what we're doing is high desert and relatively higher price, mostly cash focused deals, it's right about 90 days.
Okay.
I'd love to see that number get smaller. It's definitely one of the things that we track. Um, right now, we've added 2 new face, more marketing. We're creating a better drip campaign for the marketing that we do when we get leads via Facebook, and that's one of the reasons why we upped our standing in the lands world from just a standard subscription to a premium subscription.
Cool. And so another question: what are you, Joe? What are you using to manage your deals and stay organized?
I use Trello, um, and then I use a Google Sheet that keeps track of everything that I've mailed, all of the initial due diligence, and then the comps that we use when we decide on what a final acquisition price is going to be. Everything gets organized in Google Drives that my you know VAs and my wife all have access to.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's very important to stay organized because this is absolute chaos if you don't have a system for managing all the leads and all the deals and all the properties that you're marketing. So um, yeah, I think it's good that you're using a task management software. We got a message on Facebook. Hey guys, I'm looking to adopt wild horses and bring them on my land. I was wondering if you have any tips that would prevent any issues beforehand.
I would make sure that you're going to get with the county and talk to someone in zoning and planning and tell them exactly what you want to do, and
Yeah,
from there let them guide the kind of properties that you look at.
yeah, yeah. So I'd focus on. I'd call county planning and zoning department. They should be able to help you with that. And then how many offers? I can't see the people who are messaging, but how many offers are you sending out per month, and what number do you want to grow that to?
We're sending about 2,000 a month right now, and we think the sweet spot for us that we can manage both logistically and financially is about 4,000 a month. So that's my goal.
Yeah, I think it's a good healthy number for someone getting started. I think at least 1,000 a month is probably where you should shoot for. If you're doing more than that, great. I think it's good to have consistent leads coming through because I mean you're in a position of power when you have more deals and you could walk away from any deal and you don't have to feel like I need this deal to make my month. So I think I mean you're sending out a bunch, and if you get to 4,000 a month, then that should be plenty for having a lot of consistent leads coming through.
It was important to get that uh, intake VA in place before we ramped up the mailing, because otherwise,
Yeah,
would have been tough.
managing the inbound calls is just a headache. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All your phone's always ringing, and you got to manage all those leads, and you got to track everything. So yeah, I totally agree with that. All right, well, cool. And I guess we can get this wrapped up. I guess in terms of if people are looking to, I mean, if they're interested in contacting you, they've heard some good things on this podcast or this Facebook Live or YouTube Live, and they want to reach out to you. I guess what would be a good way to reach out to you?
You can reach out to, you can send me an email at joe at hyhproperties.com, or I'm pretty active on Facebook, and I'm friends with a lot of land investors and active in a lot of groups too. So you can always just hit me up on Facebook Messenger too.
Okay, great, awesome. And any final words from you? Any
This is
advice
this.
for land investors who are out there struggling or starting or anything?
I think the only reason that I have been successful is because tenacity is a great substitute for talent. And
With
you know,
yeah, I always mention this niche. You don't need to be smart at all. Like anyone could like read these markets. It's impossible to fail reading the markets. So
yeah, there's days where you feel like you're not doing the right thing and nothing's going to work, and you're not making any progress, and it's hard. But if you keep showing up and you get connected to other people who are doing this, good things are bound to happen.
yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good point. I think what you just mentioned, networking is huge. And I took it for granted as getting started, but when you start to talk to people and you can pick other people's brains, you pick up things that you wouldn't have on your own or that you wouldn't have in a course or um, elsewhere. So I think, yeah, I can't emphasize enough that networking has been crucial for me. And it sounds like, I mean, you're always out there active. I know you have your meetup group semi-annually or semi-regularly. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we've got a meetup that we do. At least we were going to do semi-annually in the Midwest. I live in Minnesota, and there's another investor, Dave Deniston, and I, who have organized a meetup for anyone who wants to. It's an in-person thing only, but if you want to come to Minnesota and just talk with a bunch of other land investors about how things are going for you and just share stuff, we don't charge anything for it. It's just, a chance for everyone to get together and share ideas, because we'll get as much out of it as anyone else does who comes.
Yep. Yep. No, I think that would be very helpful, especially for those, like I mentioned, who are looking to network and learn things that you can't on your own. So can't emphasize that networking is huge. So all right. Well, I appreciate all your time, Joe. And again, if anyone's interested in learning the land investing business um, and build some of the systems that I have already developed, you can go to landinvestingpros.com. We've got a lot of information on there that you can learn about our course and what we've got going on. But uh, but Joe, I really appreciate your time today, and thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me, Willie. Take care.
Take care. Bye.